person, just as a greeting cathedral. I was holding a bottle of water. I offered the water mental impairment. And it has come. It has had a role to come forward for me. Why? Why should not be such a political role? On what grounds? The theology are here, but on what grounds or on what way of authority in this time to deny the person such a I said that humility will not set of hindrances to see God's grace. It's all about our privileges. And I said that to accept these people, we cannot reach out to them. What are people so dirty? If we don't find it, we will not pay. So when we see them, we can see that we are not off. We are coming from school. We ask some of them, we talk to them, but they are better than some of us. Yes, but for what reasons they are there? If you support them, they will come back to society. So please, for me, as a priest, if the person is willing to communicate in the community before the work in the commission, and the person has the word to come out of your language, I will be, but I'm talking I will be. It's a reason for this. I selectively kept to exclude that in my lecture. I can't delete it. I looked at it severally. I couldn't get the argument supported. I hated it. Because the way to account the Holy Priesthood, that all those with impairments should not be admitted to publishing. So I was looking at the account of impairments to see whether I get anything to support the fact that even the Bible discriminated against people to become priests because of disability, but I didn't get any account. I wanted to call on once to ask. But for me, if these people are able to train to be priests, to reach out to themselves, how do you like for the video impaired to send them mass to the rooms? How do you like for perhaps to send them mass to the foreign language? What are you doing across the foreign language? How do in such a course? Only few of us. It was a part-time course that we did after school. You can count only few seminarians who took interest in sign language. So, if they are teachable, if they are trainable, and we can train them to be priests, perhaps we can propose to a church. It will take some time, but perhaps if these people we are talking about, the visually impaired, those who cannot talk and all those things, can go to our training, and we have the structures support the training to be priests. Why not? Why not? So for me, I would say that if there is a provision for that in the church, because if you look at their numbers, we are saying 10% of the Ghanaian population are within this category. 10%, which is a significant number. Worldwide, globally, we're looking at 1 billion. Yes, which is not a small number. It's not a small number. So we should think of part of us or some of us being trained in those areas. If we can't allow them to be priests, then some of us should allow ourselves to be trained in assistive technologies to help these people in their ministry. Thank you.
We'll take. Okay, Father wants to make an intervention. I want to believe when Father talks about giving communion to people who are mentally impaired, he's talking about those that probably we will describe as people who have bipolar, okay? Not exactly those who are integrated. They don't know what you are giving to them. So you have to make a difference clear. It's not talking about all those people who are on the street, but those who take their medication, even if somebody doesn't tell you that this person is actually a mental patient, you don't know. But those who are completely off and cannot appreciate the body of Christ, because you maybe give it to the person may throw it away or do something. So you have to get the difference. And talking about having people who will ministry to them. There was a time there was this doctor in Tamale, they call him the mad doctor. I think he has since died. He will go around looking for mad people to bath them, feed them, and just take care of mad people. He brought them to his clinic and he just ministered to them. So maybe, as I say, some of us can make that our ministry, can become the mad priest. So that we take care of people who are mentally ill. It's a very good ministry. Thank you. We take the next group of Father, yes.
Yeah. So the issue of some of them becoming priests. Now, some of us work in the houses in medical hospitals who have a big number of ill-prepared people in a big house in Broadway where they are. So, you can have hearing repairs, you can have sight infection, so all of them together. And one of them, there, that night, is ordained permanent spirit. Now, it is fascinating to interact with him, the activities they organize for this category of people. I read to them for 3 months, and what I noticed was that this man is very excellent and effective in ministering to physical needs. But to do that, he also needs help. So, we have this has learned the language, the sign language, and you have to go a step further because it's not just the sign, you cannot see. And there are others who also cannot see. So, he uses the palm to communicate. He gives a talk using sign language, and if somebody asks a question or intervention, the wife translates for him using the palm, and then he will answer. Then it became a national issue because it was in the news, and a big discussion among priests and in the church and on social levels. And the issue is, if you ordain a deacon, he's supposed to be a help for the priest. Now, this person you have ordained needs help to function, and there is no help to the priest. So, is it effective? And the issue has not been resolved. But since then, nobody else has also been ordained, so it is stopped there. The problem, as I see it, is ordaining a priest who himself needs help to be able to function as a priest. So what are you saying? So the issue is bigger than we are seeing it now. We need to be careful when we go into it. Thank you.
Monsieur, if you want to make an intervention.
Right here in this very diocese, we have a priest who is paralyzed from the neck down. He cannot get into apostolate. So we're not talking about possibilities, this is a reality. This is what in this diocese.
So, thank you very much, Father Chairman. Mine is a contribution in relation to this discussion. You see, the label given to the session of individuals under discussion is the term disabled, which implies that they are incapable of some activity. Therefore, involving them in some activities in the church will constitute a mockery to me. I think rather that we should accept and acknowledge their uniqueness and assign them duties they can perform uniquely to their statute. After all, we all have different gifts meant to be employed in building the body of Christ. Thank you.
My question goes to Father. In your lectures today, a famous man, or Theology, according to woman, oh okay, a woman, according to her, disability, maybe from the biblical point of view, is as a result of sin or curse. The same concept is held by many people in Ghana. You see, we have a weird idea of people living with disabilities. And also in your lectures, you propound or you asked that we should come up with theologies of disabilities. Instead of doing this, can't we come up as a church, especially the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference, can't we come up with a pastoral statement like how the USCCB did, so that at the diocesan level, we have activities that can help these people with disabilities. At the deanery level, we have activities to help these people with disabilities, even to the parish level. And we have these activities in our pastoral statement by the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference, instead of propounding a lot of theologies which will not even go a way to help these men to understand this abstract theology we're talking about.
Thank you. As I'm speaking to the second speaker, Mrs. Dede Yankee, I think that some of the churches that I have been there, I'm talking about the Catholic Church, I mean places that I have been there, when you witness very beautiful family coming to church and participating in the activities of the church, it's so nice and very encouraging. So but you would also witness that apart from some of the movies and then even sometimes, I don't know much in this country, but I have not witnessed so much groupings as regards married people, maybe women and men who are having conferences or certain talks, series to keep them moving on. Yet we are facing this kind of divorce now and then. So what will be your proposal to the church? Probably you have witnessed one somewhere that you want to give to the church. What will be your proposal? Then seminarians who must be supported by their parents during formation year period. I remember when I was going to the minor seminary, some priests said that, oh, they will give you everything, so you don't need to take anything or carry anything to the place. So you go before you realize that something is wrong. I just want to remind my brothers that our parents need to support us. So if we didn't get, when we become priests and then we have seminarians going to the minor seminary, let's encourage the parent to give them what will help them out. My last point, Mr. Okay, that is to Father. Please, Father, I was grateful when you started mentioning some of the you are in now. I mean, bringing the disability or disabled turn to us here. Now I'm looking at disability and addiction. What could be some of the differences and similarities? And under what circumstance would you say that a certain addiction is a disability and this addiction is not a disability?
Thank you very much. The first question has to do with the groupings for marriage. In my parish, we have something like that. Every year we have marriage week. We organize trips. They go outside the parish to the beach, or the last time they went to a guest house near Abluma. It belongs to one of the Catholic families over there. But then what we realize is that a lot of the young ones are not interested. You organize the thing for them, we pay so much, especially the beach trip, because the church has to sponsor it. Then they don't turn up. We organize about 15 couples registered, then 5 turned up. And every year is the same, but we've not given up. There is also Couples for Christ. Couples for Christ, which organize a group of families coming together. So they plan activities, what they want to do, then they let the parish priest know. At times they go on trips. They've been to Nzuleru, they've been to Amajope. It's like they go for weekends just to be at a marriage, you know. So we are trying, but then the challenge is the youth. No matter what you organize, they don't turn up. But we are still trying. During the marriage, we normally have talks. We organize talks that people who have about 40 years of marriage and above come in to tell them what they do. But the challenge we have these days is that a lot of them go into the marriage with different perceptions. Some go in for money. Some think the guy is handsome, so they want, this is the guy I want, so I must get him. So that is where the problem is coming from. So it's a fundamental issue. The root, we need to tackle that one. Because last year, for example, a couple wanted to get married. And there were so many challenges, but no matter what father said, they still wanted to get married. So eventually, father said, the people, I've said anything. What do you think? I said, father, let them go. This year, they are asking for divorce. Yes. It's under 1 year. At that time, for whatever reason, they are very blind to anything. They are blind and deaf to whatever you say. No, they don't listen. So, just like father said, during that time, they are at that stage. You know, during that time, they are at that stage, no matter what you say. So it's a big of a challenge. When it comes to support to seminarians, it depends on where you are coming from. It depends on where you are coming from. I know certain parishes that they organize to support the seminarians. We have 7 priests and 3 reverend sisters, and we are 74, going to be 75. We need more. So if you say you are going to the seminary, everybody will jump at you to support you. Coming from. At the same time, you can talk to your parents if you need support, and I think they will help you. Thank you.
So if the church is universal, we'll get a list of our needy seminarians and bring them to him. You can adopt them.
relation to the question of sort of group of couples as Mama tried to. I believe you are trying to do something good. But we are talking of the issue with the young ones. Probably they feel they do not belong. I was in a parish in Tübingen. Are you okay? Yeah, it's a city in Germany. And this St. Michael's Parish, they have what they call in their language Familienkreis. That is a group of families brought together. There are the senior clubs, that is they come together sort of marrying within a period, and they are age group, similar age group. So they are like a society, a group. They meet from time to time. They have their own language and they have their own plans for the year. So they work on their own. And then we have a group related to profession. Say, coincidentally, some teachers haven't come together as couples. So about 7, 8, 9, 10 families in the teacher group also coming together. And they also meet periodically. Like every month, they meet in one house of the family, and then they have their own discussions. And they sometimes take issues relating to the parish and discuss and contribute. And they have their own plan. So if we could also, as a church here in Ghana, look at something like that. Like our young couples marrying within a year, within 1, 2, 3 years, if they seem to understand one language, they will be put together, and I believe it may help them all in getting to understand issues relating to marriage better than just bringing them together with all others at a weekend, at one trip. And we seminarians can even practice it as we are on our pastoral assignment. Talk to them, get them into these groups, and the priest will help them to grow into this. And I believe it may encourage to help them and deal with issues to curb the situations of divorce here and there. Thank you.
So there are two questions posed to me. I have just said that if you go and teach people about Islamic theology, it's for you to get to know here. If you learn it, get to know more on personal abilities. We will bring a concept called the disabled God. Okay, we are proposing a theology of the disabled God. The reason Christ on the cross, the nails, the hair. So it's very interesting. You get to know more about these people and you go out there to help. But I propose a ministry to persons with disabilities, both at the national, the diocesan, and the parish levels. I said that we should use the Center for Human Development and just a peace commission as mouthpiece for this ministry. So perhaps one of the bishops make a statement and you don't have anyone to champion it, but forget about it. In Ghana, we have a lot of policies documents. They are there. If you look at the Mental Health Act, what is in that act? You're surprised. You would have really seen people walking in the streets. For talking, we can. And when it comes to implementation, it's nil. I had a friend who came from the US. He spent only 3 days in Ghana. And his conclusion is, we have brilliant ideas in books in Ghana. But when it comes to implementation, we are nobody. We can talk, but we don't implement. So, but I'm saying that if we have this ministry, priests, religious, and so the lay people championing this kind of ministry, It will help these people to understand themselves and also empower them to do something for themselves. Some of them, they can do something for themselves. If we have the right structures in place, these people can come up and do something for themselves. In Fiji, we have the Charity Special School. Okay, people suffering from those intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities. If you go there, the kind of things they're doing, you'll be surprised. Come and die, bees and go. It's beautiful. So how can we empower them? The motto is help us to help ourselves. That is the motto. Help us to help ourselves. So how is the church helping these people apart from the usual home visitations and communion to the sick? And one way is the military to send people who we have spoken about. Then disability and addiction. Addiction becomes a disability when it causes marked psychological and emotional distress. For instance, if you can't leave your phone for 1 minute, so a few of us, we can't even leave our phones for 1 minute. We have mobile addictions. Yes, but you don't see it as an addiction and therefore perhaps disability. So if you at every second you want to look at whether your WhatsApp messages, at any point your man is telling you to check your messages. This one you will not say that you are off. You will not say it. We have alcohol-induced addictions. We have substance-induced addictions. When these addictions cause marked distress and they cause disturbance and distress in your life, they become disability because you cannot do what you are supposed to do as a result of these addictions. For instance, because of alcohol addiction, you can't go to work. Because of that, you can't perform even as a married person. Okay? Because of alcohol addiction or substance addiction, you can't function well as a priest. Let's not leave ourselves out. We are part of the group. Some of us are so much addicted to one thing or the other to the extent that we are inefficient in every work they give us. But we don't describe ourselves. But give a mental intellectual disability person, they're able to even create some artifacts and go and make it out of life. But for some of us, anywhere you send us, although we are not being described as part of persons with abilities, everywhere we go, we cause troubles, distractions, yet we are normal. We are normal. So let's look at some business too. Thank you.
I think Father made a very laudable suggestion in terms of theology of disabilities. But from all this theology week, what I am looking at now is placing or focusing on persons of disabilities under pastoral theology. Pastoral theology can take care of persons of disabilities, and issues pertaining these persons will have to be handled more by pastoral theology instead of maybe talking about establishing a theology for disability. Okay. Thank you.
That's good.
So before going to my question, I feel the need to give thanks to moderators for today, the facilitators. For Frederick, thank you for the work you have done, and Mrs. Dede for the work. I feel now, if you want to be efficacious, this is my contribution. A serious apostolate is needed for the care of families, because it is the family that gives us everything. So the people we have in the society, they come from families. If they are troubled, we in the society, we cannot handle them. In the church also, we cannot handle them. So thank you for you as couple for what you are doing. We must be grateful to the witness you are giving, because a lot of families are
struggling. It's not also easy to live as couple. So thank you for the witness you are giving to others. I think there is also need for you who are already engaged to help those who are coming, in the sense that all of us, we are aware of troubles and challenges. But I think we have to be able to make a stop to it, because there is already a kind of hemorrhagia coming. So we have to be able to stop it. Then you have to come with concrete suggestion and proposal based on your experience to empower others. I will not ask them here, but I will suggest to you maybe to do them outside. Then my question goes to Father Eric. You talked of disabilities, but I'm trying to look at a context where poverty, or let me say maybe misery, because in the church poverty is a value. So, so the context where poverty itself becomes a form of a disability. There are places where if you try to put maybe a center to help the disabled people, it is the whole village who will come. Everybody will point himself as a disabled. But at the end you realize that it is just because of poverty. So what are the means you can suggest to us in a concrete way when we are limited? We don't have means, but in front of us there are plenty people who point themselves as disabled. How can we do to handle all those situations? Thank you.
Thank you. How possible could you help somebody who is in the transition from neurosis to psychosis and then has translated that into one or the other form of spirituality, so that that person does not fall a victim of a spiritual fanaticism?
Thank you very much. I think that before we can make a headway as a community of believers, we need to eschew the philosophy of survival of the fittest. My first question. One question to each of them. Looking at the nature of disability, it calls for the attention of financial sustenance. What do you propose, or what do you propose would be the best way to raise funds to embark on this all-important project? Our second question has to do with looking at the rate of migration and interreligious marriages in our churches. It is actually costing us so much. What do you propose would be the best way to unite the members of the church? Thank you.
We talk about migration and then the intermarriages. The intermarriage as a current problem. For whatever reasons, we have the having young men say we want to marry outside. But the challenge we have is that what I have realized, or what I have reviewed, is that as the parishes, you realize that the young men go out with the women. But then when it comes to marriage, then they go and bring women from outside. Yes, that is what is happening. So in my parish, for example, I always organize for the young ladies, and I always use myself as an example for them, because I was born and bred, baptized, everything at St. Paul's Catholic Church, Pedu. I grew up there. I was given the name used by happening in Pedu since I was born. I know it didn't used to be like that, but then these days, when you ask the young men, you go out with these men, you sleep with them, at the end of the day, the men take them away. The men take them away. Because we have issues of the men saying we want to become Catholic, let's go ahead with the marriage. They have a marriage in the Catholic church. But at the end of the day, after the marriage, they will say, follow me to my church. You either come with me or you go to your church and forget about the marriage. So that is a big challenge, but we are trying to encourage our ladies not to let loose. Yes, because you need to gain that self-respect for the men to take you serious. So what we can do now is just talk to them, educate them. But apart from that, there is nothing much we can do as a church, because we've organized them in so many societies. Christian daughters, little flower, talking to them. But then at the end of the day, we still have these challenges. So, thank you.
Financial sustainability for persons with abilities. You'll be surprised to know that in Ghana, 3% of the common fund for the various districts and municipalities is supposed to go to persons with disabilities. Ask ourselves, where are these monies? Because these people are not even organized. We have not organized them. So which assembly member or DC will go around looking for them to give them the money? Yes. But for me, I think that when we organize them into a ministry, when they are aware that the Catholic Church is engaged in this ministry, and you go to them, perhaps they will release these funds. But as it stands now, there's a scattered group of people. And the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations themselves, their voices are not coming up. Because nobody seems to support them. If as a church, we create just such ministry and we back it with action, I think they want to release such monies to support these people. Also, you have to note that not all these people are poor. You have to note that not all of them are poor. There are people who are rich but are now suffering dementia, and it's part of that. Others are suffering various forms of depression and psychosis. They were rich before. These people may not need your money. All they need from you is your availability and presence. So let's not attach all disabilities to poverty. Those you see may be 1 in 100, but there are some of them who are in their houses who just need the presence. They need somebody to talk to. They are suffering various forms of emotional disturbances. They don't get anyone to talk to. So if that ministry is working and you go to them, the mere fact that they have somebody talking to may contribute to their healing. Fine, some of them need money. Like it's not easy to engage in a mental health intervention programs in Ghana because it seems no one will help. But if we organize ourselves as a church, we have lots of NGOs who want trustworthy organizations to support such people. Unfortunately, in Ghana, we have whole lots of NGOs who will come and take data to help these people. When the monies come, they will organize a program and also they will inflate the bills. That is the Ghanaian society for you. You have to be smart to eat. People organize, setting up NGOs, ask whether they are helping these people. It's a pity. And we need you to come out to evangelize the Ghanaian mind once again. Because our minds are getting more corrupt and corrupt and corrupt. So that is for that. But you spoke about psychosis. And if you read more about hallucinations and illusions, you understand more about the prophets going on in Ghana. You understand the prophetism going on in the country and Africa. You go and tell people it is hallucination, illusion, or psychosis, they will eat you. They will eat you, that you are anti-Christian. But clearly, most of these people are sick. If you look at what they are saying, if you look at their actions, our dear friend, I don't want to mention his name, but now he's saying that if you are shot, recently in a testimony in his church, somebody was saying that he was shot and they bring him. I was able to make him taller. You see what's happening? So it's not only the pastors perhaps and the prophets who are sick, but our congregation is getting sick and sick and sick and sick. How do we heal them? In their sickness, they are getting their numbers. In their sickness, they are getting their numbers. In our sanity, our numbers are dwindling. So what is happening? And in our attempt to imitate them, we are also doing crazy things. Yes. Look at some priests organizing revivals now. You look at them as if they are also mad. Seriously, so the things we are doing now. Recently, the Pope is saying, the Nuncio, is saying that the people are asking us to give back the Catholicism to them. Because it means we are imitating wrongly. In our bid to be Pentecostals and charismatic, people are also leaving the church. But not all people want that style. So clearly, some of these prophets will be psychotic. They are sick. But in their sickness, they are influencing the people and they are getting the people into their churches. What can we do as a church? Can we sit back and criticize? We will do, but they are getting the numbers. We need serious thinking in some of these things to get back our numbers into our church. So let's look at that. Poverty as a form of disability. Perhaps in our training as seminarians, my guys said that poverty is bad, but not a disabling poverty. The poverty that will let you wear tattered clothing as a priest, as a seminarian, and walking in the streets. Not a poverty that will let you go out begging for food to eat. Not a poverty that will rather let you sin. You are aware that extreme poverty rather will lead you to go and sin. Because if one city comes to your hand, or if you buy one city in the parish, you will inflate the money. And that is happening everywhere. So we have disabling poverty. But perhaps, as a church, I told you about the motto of Fijai, the Catholic Special School. The motto is, help us, help ourselves. Help us, help ourselves. Seriously, some of these physical challenges, some people pretend and pose as physical challenge when they are not, because they want to go into the street to beg. What can we do to help them? Can we all the time be giving them the coin, one city, or as a church, we put structures in place to train these people to go into some kind of trade? And also, the amazing thing is that when persons with disabilities come up with sandals and these things, people don't want to buy them. Yes. In Fijai, these people are into beads making and that. Somebody said, what can these mad people do? It's something. So the first thing is to accept them that they are human beings, their capabilities, disability is not inability. They can do something and empower them to also do something for themselves so that they will not pretend as being disabled when they have the capacity to do something. So let's, as you come up with better ideas and suggestions to help the church reach out to these people. Thank you.
Okay, we shall take the next set of questions. Just to add a little to what Father said about buying their products. Elsewhere, what they do, when they come to Africa, they want to help the poor in Africa. So they bring some beads and these things that are made from the heart, those things, and they bring them to the parishes, and people are encouraged to buy them, not because probably you really need them, but as a way of supporting them. So, I mean, that's the point Father is making. So maybe when you become priest and those of you who be in the parishes, make it a point. Maybe you go there, you get some of their beads, you put them at the back of the church. Every day you make an announcement that people should buy. And in buying them, you are donating to alleviate their poverty. Very important. Okay, the next three questions. Let's see those, hold on, those who still have questions, so that maybe we just take them together. Okay, so we can take them together and then we finish.
Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to share my thoughts on one of the discussions about empowering people with disability to become priests so they could minister to their kind. On Monday, there was a similar discussion, along that line, that it has been observed that priests who headed institutions brought about significant transformation, and so there was that advocacy that priests be encouraged to head institutions. When I hear such advocacies, I feel quite uneasy, because the impression I get is that people can only bring about transformation in the various sectors they find themselves in if they are priests. And for me, that shouldn't be the case. It seems to be a plot, or maybe a scheme, to emasculate the capacity or the faculty of the lay to head institutions or to play roles that can bring significant transformation in their fields of endeavor. People must not become priests before they can minister to people with disability. People must not become priests before they can head institutions to effect some significant transformation. And so I have my reservations. I feel that the lay should be empowered. The priests cannot be everywhere. And so the lay should be empowered and encouraged and then trained so they could serve in these areas to maybe augment the work the priests are doing. Thank you.
I also make this intervention in relation to what Mrs. Dede Yankee said concerning the
to at least 1 year, so that at least it can help them to be patient. And also, like you rightly said, that the youth are not, forthcoming when it comes to programs after marriage. I have realized with my encounter with the marriage counselors that I have met so far, that the age gap is alarming. You realize that the marriage counselors are way older than the youth who are married, and so because of that, they may not feel belonged. Is there a way to help or to make sure that even the young ones, the young couples, are also part of the counseling, so that the youth who are getting married feel belonged? Thank you.
Thank you. About the
We just want to train them so that they will take up after us. Thank you. But and the other one was what? It was a contribution. Yeah. And the other one was a contribution, so that's it.
Facilities for our church is not disabled friendly. The Disability Act of Ghana mentioned this, that they give a period of time, that's about 10 years interval, that all, not only churches, all buildings, schools, banks, and all those things should be disability friendly. Some people started, but no one enforced it again. They stopped. So if you go to some banks, you see that they created nothing there, and they stopped. And in the church buildings, you go to some other places, they have it. But in a country where you make a law, they will talk about it 1, 2, and they will stop. You will also forget. So it's our attitude as Ghanaians. We need to implement policies, not just talk and talk and talk and talk. As when the government has gone around to check whether what they said is being done. No. So I think new churches must look at that when they are designing their plan for buildings. And old churches should also look at if they can create such facilities for them. They're using PWDs to extort money. That is sheer wickedness. And I don't even know what to do. But for me, I think that if as a church we have the structures and we organize these people, I don't think anyone will come begging for them. But because the structures are not there, so let's take the step. Let's take the step. If we put in place structures to help them, these people are aware that even in this parish, we have a group like that. So they don't even come begging. If the one coming to beg is in that parish, he is part of that group already, and he will not come. And wicked people who want to use them to achieve their means will also not have that chance to do it. So let's take the step to put structures in place to help these people. Thank you.
Okay, so gradually we are coming to the close of the program. So I'm just giving my concluding remarks, and then there will be the vote of thanks, and we'll pray. And those who want to go out can go out. I think it's our friend Gideon. He mentioned the youth intermarrying. It's a very serious concern, but I think we have to change our perception. Those of us who happen to be in youth groups, the almighty CYO, in those days, people saw members of the CYO as people who were only for fornicating. They used to talk about us, that, oh, you are supposed to go and learn things about God. You go and you'll be doing your own thing. Especially when they do the culture and the dance, you know, people thought they were promiscuous. You know, so I think it's one of the perceptions that has really influenced the youth intermarriage. People are sometimes afraid to show interest in fellow youth members because people will talk. No, so we always encourage them. If you've seen somebody in the church, you are young, and you think you are interested in one another, you have to go ahead. It's not a sin. No, you just don't have to do it before the proper time. But showing interest and dating or courting, so we should watch our own pronouncement as priests and seminarians when the youth are going out. About the family, we have to understand that we are all members of families, and we have to show interest in our families. I've said it here before. When we're in Soto, we're supposed to, may he rest in peace. During vacation, we say, go home. You see, we just heard about the Ghanaian family as a foundation for priestly formation. You have to go home and be part of the community, learn the values that the family is teaching you, so that it will be the springboard during assessment when people are asked about character formation and conscience, moral conscience, and they mention a lot of things. And I remember the rector always asked them, what about before you knew these things? Then they'll say, oh, and then my family values. You have to be part of the family so that you will learn hard work, sincerity, the love for the truth, strength in character. All these are values that we learn from the family, not only the Ghanaian family, so that you can now connect it to Amoris Laetitia. Disability is not a choice. You know, nobody chooses to have a condition which is disabling. So when we see somebody who is disabled, or sometimes as some want to use it, people who are challenged in one way or the other, we have to show concern. We have to show empathy. They need presence and love, as what Eliasim has told us. If you don't have a disabled person in your family, sometimes they look distant. For a long time, we never had a disabled person in our family until my brother gave birth to a son who has cerebral palsy. And now you see that it's real. You know, this time you are not reading it. So not long ago, Joy News did a documentary on people with cerebral palsy. I showed so much interest. And I called my sister-in-law, they are in Tamale, to watch, you know, because this is one of my nephews. He has cerebral palsy. What do? He needs love. He needs care. He needs presence. So now I have become interested in knowing things about people with cerebral palsy. Maybe before it happened happen in my family, maybe I wouldn't have. But as a pastoral agent, we have to genuinely be interested in such people. We have to get closer to them, and as Father mentioned, see how we can help them to become a group, and see how we can help them with parish funds or write projects in their name to help them so that the image of God which is in them, which is never diminished, a friend of mine has a movie, it's called The Outlier. It showed somebody with autism who also became a computer expert. So these people have something in them, and it is our duty as priests and seminaries to help unearth that potential in them by being their voice, by being present in their lives and doing all that. So on this note, we want to thank our speakers, somebody who do that for the fantastic work that they have done. Maybe we can give them a round of applause.
Actually can make believe the death and the time. Without my time, I have people on our brother, brothers, and assembly to come and propose the word of God. Let us all be all
I am grateful and humbled to be chosen after the Lord to propose the vote of thanks. Every good and perfect gift comes from God, and it is indeed we had a good gift today for the success of this program. So we have every reason to thank the Lord. May His name be praised now and forever. Amen. From time immemorial, God has manifested His presence and His invisible hand through the visible hands of men and women. In the light of this, we thank our resource persons, our chairperson, Reverend Father Derry, Reverend Father Eric Eliasson, Mrs. Yankee, and her supportive husband, Mr. Yankee. May God bless you. Thank you very much. We also thank our four makers who have been behind all these things. May God bless them. We thank ourselves as seminarians and secretary persons for your presence. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Please, the various leaders, kindly come for your questions before we start the prayers. He said you should come for your questions now at the Secretariat. Thank you. The leaders, right now.
That's what they are. Yes, but they are not discussing it. But they are doing that. Asking that you do well when you go back to your room and you are free to subscribe to the channel
Pedu and watch the program to help boost your business. It will also be good for you to awareness to your
Shall we now compose ourselves for the midday prayers?
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. In the name of the Lord.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. And the Word became flesh, and dwelt among us. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Pray for us, O Holy Mother of God. As we engage the word of the cross of Christ, let us pray. Oh, beseech you, Lord, for the reason of our hearts, that we through the incarnation of Christ your Son, as we know that this is a angel, may by his passion and the cross, grow to the glory of his resurrection, through the same Christ our Lord. May the assistance of the Lord always be with us, and may the souls of the faithful departed. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. O God, come to our assistance. O Lord, make use of us. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. As it was in the beginning, now and ever, world without end. 3, 4, 6. What was it?
pray with yourself.
Regional Seminary for the Theology Week, and the lectures are over now. At the moment we're having the Divine Office prayers, and so thank you very much for joining us. We are going to bring you some live interviews after the prayers in Jesus. Thank you for joining us once again. God bless you.